Shalom. 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 Alright, kind of sounds good. Shalom. Shalom. I want to start off, of course, giving all honor and glory to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RAWCHAA, HAQADASH. Double honors to our apostles and our elders of great millstone, who rule well, who teach well, and sound doctrine, who is a great example to the ministry and the body of YAHWASHI, YAHAWASHI. Strong shalom to the hopeful elect, and large multitude of men, women, and children. That the Lord will have mercy on these last days. But HAQADASH, Shawat, RAWCHAA, coming back with another lesson through the spirit and power of YAHWASHI, YAHAWASHI. Lord willing is edifying. All right, title we're going to be getting into tonight. It says, what language did Adam speak? All right, because Adam had a language. All right, Adam had a language, and so did the whole entire world have a language. Around that time when man was first created, we had a language. Okay, so we're going to get into that. Lord willing is edifying. Bear with me. Matter of fact, what we're gonna do is let's start off here. Let's start off with second Esdras. Okay, let's start off when man was created. Let's start off with second Esdras 6. Who is that? This way? Huh? What? Oh, okay. It's like second Esdras 6, and let's start at 47. All right. It says, upon the 5th day. Matter of fact, let's do it like this so you can be tuned in. Upon the 5th day, thou saidest unto the 7th part, where the waters were gathered, that it should bring forth living creatures, fowls and fishes, and so it came to pass. So on the 5,000 year, all right, the YAHWASHI, YAHWASHI created all living creatures. It says that it should bring forth living creatures. Man is a living creature. Okay, it's included in that. All right. It says 48, for the dumb water and without life brought forth living things at the commandment of the most high power, YAHWASHI, YAHWASHI, that all people might praise thy wondrous works. Okay. It says 49, then didst thou ordain 2 living creatures. The one thou callest Enoch. Okay, Enoch in the Hebrew is Anawak, right? Which means learn. Okay, which in this case is man, and the other is Leviathan. So Enoch represents man, and Leviathan represents the water creatures. Okay, and man, okay, and you're gonna see here in the next verse, it says in 50, and did separate the one from the other, for the 7th part, namely where the water was gathered together, might not hold them both. So right, man, we're born in water, as we're gonna read in Genesis. When a baby's in a woman's stomach, the baby is protected in the sac, the layers that's inside the belly. Okay, and in that, the baby's in the water. So when the water breaks, the baby has to come out because it would die. Okay, this is why women have births in the water, water births, and different things as such, because a baby can swim when it's first born, because we all come out the water. Okay, so now the Lord, the Most High Power, YAHWASHI, YAHWASHI, separated it as okay as you expand, we can no longer breathe underwater. because those are two different realms. Okay, man has a realm, a world. The sea creatures have a world. Might not hold them both. Unto Enoch, thou gavest one part which dried up the third day, that he should dwell in the same part wherein are 1,000 hills. You see, so man, Enoch, the Most High gave us the land, the earth to dwell upon. Okay, 52. But unto Leviathan, thou gavest the seventh part, namely the moist, and has kept him to be devoured of whom thou wilt and when. You see that? So from there, we can go to Genesis. All right, when man was created, where this is quoting from, Genesis 1. And we can jump straight into the point. All right, I want to be quick as possible. And the Most High Power, YAHWASHI, said, "Let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creatures, okay, that have life." Okay, it says, "And fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven." So the fowls that fly above the earth in the open firmament would be pigeons, hawks, eagles, okay, regular birds, okay, whatever flies in the air, man. These are the ones that fly in the open firmament. These two came out the water. You see? So do they live in the water now? No. 21. And the Most High Power created whales and every living creature that moveth. Right? So the Most High created all creatures on the earth on this day, or in this year, the 5,000 year, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. You see? And Yahweh saw that it was good. So right. So then the Most High, this is where the Most High implemented the idea of sex, which is where you get the next verse. And the Most High blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the waters and the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth." See? So everything was multiplying on the earth from Enoch to Leviathan, meaning man or creatures on earth, on land, all the way to creatures in the sea. Okay, and you got to follow me, all right? So if you jump down to 26, it says, "And Yahweh said, Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over all creeping things that creep upon the earth." All right, so this is where the Most High have set what? Dominion. Okay, this is where he set the order. You see? And the order came through the line of the Adamites. Okay? So now we have order set, the Most High. Now you have to understand how man was created. So now the order is set. Okay? And he said, "Let us make man in our image." So this is how you know it's talking about the royal line, the Adamites, because we are made after the image of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Okay, now all creatures in the heavens look like man, like, like Michael Allah, Raphael, I forgot how to say his name in Hebrew, you know, Yahweh, the Father, Yahweh Shai, the Son. Okay, not all entities in the heavens look like man. Okay, so Yahweh Shai created man his own image, and the image of Yahweh created he him, male and female created he them. Okay, now from there, let's go to Sirach, Ecclesiastes, and Apocrypha, chapter 17. We can start at the top. I just wanted to lay this foundation so you can understand what language, because in order to understand that Adam had a language and what language he spoke, you have to understand how man was created and when man was created and why it's so important and significant into understanding the speech that he spoke. Sirach 17:1, "The Lord created man of the earth and turned him into it again, and gave them few days in a short time, and power also over the things therein." So right, the dominion is set. Mainly the Israelites, Yasha Allah, Prince of the Power, Yahweh Shai, is set over the earth, and we have dominion. We are the judges of the earth. We have dominion over everything on the earth. Okay? It says 3. He endued them with strength by themselves and made them according to his image, and put the fear of man upon all flesh, and gave him dominion over beasts and fowls. Right? Remember, I told you the dominion in the order is set. Now, in order to have dominion over other things on the earth, and Israel to have dominion over another man on the earth, another creature with the same kind of features as himself, I have to be able to. Adam has to be able to communicate with these creatures. He have to be able to communicate and to direct. So how did he do that? He did that through language. But what language? Through the Hebrew tongue. And we're gonna get that here. More proof. Like I said, this is the foundation. Verse 5, they received the use of the 5 operations of the Most High Power in this. So what are the 5 operations? Okay, which is, in today's term, they call them our 5 senses. Okay, you have touch, you have taste, eyesight, smell, and hearing. Those are the 5 operations of the Most High Power. Okay, but then, because all animals, all creatures on the earth have this form, have this in one shape or form, all right? Because you have some creatures that are blind, you have like bats, you have some, you know what I'm saying? So you have these operations within all creations, but then the Most High separated that with man and the beasts of the field. It says, and in the 6th place, he imparted them understanding. So then the Most High Power gave man understanding, okay? And so Adam had the same thing going on with him. And in the 7th, speech. So not all animals have communication in their own way, but he gave man a communication called using our tongue with speech. Okay, it says an interpreter of the cogitations thereof. Now I got that word for y'all, so y'all can know what that means. Cogitations. Okay, this is the av1611.com. This is a great source. It says cogitable, right? That may be thought on, that may be meditated on, but we want cogitation. It says the act of thinking, right? So it just means cogitations just means thoughts, okay? The act of thinking, thought, meditation, contemplation, okay? So we read it again, we'll understand it. It says the interpreter of the thoughts thereof. So now man has speech, and we are able to interpret that speech, understand speech. You see? And understanding. Okay? Counsel in the tongue and eyes, ears, and the heart gave he them to understand. All right? It says, withal he filled them with the knowledge of understanding and showed them good and evil. So Adam had a language. Not only did he have a language, the Most High gave him knowledge of understanding and showed them good and evil. Right, and this came through the rise and the fall of the Anamites. Evil, the understanding of evil came from our fall. The understanding of good came through that RAWCHAA, that breath, in Genesis 2:7, and Wisdom of Solomon 7:24 on down, starting with 23. That breath, which is that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that YAHAWASHI breathed into Adam, okay, which comes with the law, statutes, and commandments, okay, the ways of the Lord. He set his eye upon their hearts that he might show them his greatness of his works. And this was all, at the end of the day, was to glorify the Father by seeing the greatness of his works. Because now we see the evil, now we see the what? Balance of YAHAWASHI and how powerful he truly is. He gave them to glory in his marvelous acts forever, that they might declare his works with understanding. You see? So now we declare everything YAHAWASHI has made with understanding, and the elect shall praise his holy name. Beside this, he gave them knowledge in the law of life for inheritance. You see? So this goes all the way back to Adam. The law of life for inheritance. That's what that breath is. The spirit and power of YAHAWASHI, the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You see? He made an everlasting covenant with them and showed them his judgments. You see? Their eyes saw the majesty of his glory, and their ears heard his glorious voice. which brings us into really the overall picture of this I was about to say language of this lesson. Okay, from there, let's go to Acts real quick, because in the heavens there's a language. So if we were made in the image of YAHWASHI, we have to first and foremost have the language that YAHWASHI speaks. Like, all right, which all men spoke, because when you go to Isaiah 2, all men were going to be subject unto Israel. They praised the Father through Israel. Israel praised the Father through YAHWASHI. YAHWASHI, you see, it's ordered. The woman praised YAHWASHI through the man, through the order. And ultimately, in the nutshell, it's all praising Yahweh, the Father. You got Acts 26. Let's get straight to the point. Let's go to verse 14. And these are the languages of the heavens, okay? Acts 26 and 14. And when we were all fallen to the earth, I heard, now this was when Paul's name was Saul, okay? And he was persecuting the church. But then YAHWASHI intervened and said, verse 14, when we were all fallen to the earth, I heard a voice speaking unto me and saying in the Hebrew tongue, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks, right? Because YAHWASHI also said that once you do it to one, you do it to all, right? If they persecute you, they persecute me. So when you come against his men, the ones he has sent forth, the apostles, the ones he has sent forth as teachers and prophets, therefore you stabbing him, you're persecuting him. Okay, because the prophets in YAHWASHI are one. You see, so these are the languages of the heavens, because let's read the next verse. And he said, and I said, who art thou, Lord? So he said, who are you, Lord? And he said, I am YAHWASHI, whom thou persecutest. So he spoke to Saul, who was Paul, from the heavens with the Hebrew tongue. So the language of the heavens is the Hebrew tongue. When you go to 2nd Esdras, chapter 3, real quick. So now we understand the language of the heavens is Hebrew. Now we understand when man was formed and how man was formed. So now we go to 2nd Esdras 3 of when man was given commandment. 2nd Esdras 3, let's start at 4. O Lord, who bears rule, thou spakest at the beginning. You see? So YAHWASHI spoke at the beginning of time. He spoke to man. So if the language of the heavens is Hebrew, he had to speak to man, and they had to understand it in the Hebrew tongue. When thou didst plant the earth, you see? So the Most High spoke in the beginning. Okay, not only by his mouth, which is YAHWASHI, but literally with the vibrations of his voice, which is the heavenly language, which is the Hebrew tongue. When thou didst plant the earth. So YAHWASHI spoke those vibrations when he planted the earth, and that thyself alone and commanded the people. Right. So he commanded the people. So how he commanded the people by what? Through his speech, through his tongue, which is the Hebrew. Verse 5, and gave us a body unto Adam without soul, right? Without that understanding, the soul and the spirit is synonymous, which was the workmanship of thy hand, right? Formed of the dust of the ground, out of the confusion, and did breathe into him the breath of life, and he was made living before thee. So now Adam had the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the ways of YAHWASHI. How do we know this? Let's keep reading. 6, and thou leddest him into paradise, which thy right hand had planted before ever the earth came forth or forward. 7, and unto him thou gavest commandment to love thy way. So before the laws were written on stone, okay, they were written, they were announced verbally, okay, orally through the mouth, okay. So in order to understand them and to do them, we had to know them and understand the speech, which we brought out in Sirach 17. And that speech that we understood was Hebrew. This is the first language of the world, and this is the holy language, and this is the most powerful language on the world. It's so powerful. Matter of fact, let me show you just a fun fact real quick. Pentagram. Let's look up pentagram. All right, if you know what a pentagram is what Satanists use to do like spells and witchcraft or whatever. Let's look now. In order to you see the Baphomet in the middle. In order to even put a spell up, I mean, no matter what you believe in, if you are Islam, you are Buddha, whatever you believe in, or whatever you don't believe in, if you're a Satanist, you don't use anything else to put a curse up, but with Hebrew characters. As you can see circling this pentagram, those are Hebrew characters because the original tongue is Hebrew, showing you that the power is only lied or only held in Hebrew. Okay? Just wanted to show you that fun fact real quick. Where were we? So 7. Let me check the comment. We'll make sure we're good. And shalom to everybody tuning in. YAHAWASHI, HAQADASH. May your houses be blessed to the elect. All right, verse 7. And unto him thou gavest commandment to love thy way, which he transgressed. Okay, so how did he transgress it if he didn't know it, right? And immediately thou appointest death in him, and that's that balance in his generations, of whom came nations, tribes, people, and kindreds out of number. Okay, matter of fact, let's get 2 more verses. 8, and every people walked after their own will and did wonderful things before thee and despised thy commandments. Right? So, because this includes the world too. This includes the nations as well. So how can the nations, first foremost, the Holy Line, which is the Adamites, we're really talking about the Adamites, but because the Adamites went off, the nations went off. Okay? And the nations went off because they always were meant to go off. Which we're gonna touch on in Genesis chapter 3, dealing with the spiritual demon Satan, who was manifested in Esau when he had pigmentation in the garden. Okay, it says, and despise thy commandments. So in order for us to despise the Lord's commandments, we had to know the speech in which it was given to us. And again, in process of time, thou broughtest the flood upon those. So this is going to lead us into the next segment. And again, in the process of time, thou broughtest the flood. So the flood came upon those that dwelt in the world and destroyed them. You see, so the flood came. Okay, so now we can go to Genesis real quick. Let's go to Genesis 2 real quick. Let's go there, and let's hit 2, and then we're gonna move. Let's Genesis 2 and 15. It says, and YAHAWASHI took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it right. So the Garden of Eden, all right, which when you go into like research, scholars, okay, these individuals who call themselves scholars, they call this the Fertile Crescent. All right, the Garden of Eden, was in the east, okay, which surrounds the lands of Jerusalem, Israel, Palestine, in that area, right? They call it the Fertile Crescent because it's the richest soil in the east, or really in the world. It's the richest soil in the world, where the highest vibration of vegetation grows there, okay? Which is why it was called the Garden of Eden. All right. Another fun fact, and let's go to verse 16. And YAHAWASHI, our power, commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat. Okay? So, what does it say? And YAHAWASHI commanded. So, remember, the language of the heavens, pursuant to, what we go into, because you can also read this in another chapter in Acts, but we brought out Acts 26, Acts 26, when Yahawashi spoke to Paul, whose name was Saul at the time, from the heavens in the Hebrew tongue. And he confirmed it with his identity, saying, yes, I am Yahawashi. So it says, and Yahawashi commanded the man. So one, we know he's talking to him in Hebrew, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat. Okay, so let's go. Matter of fact, let's go to the next chapter. Let's go to the next chapter. Chapter 3, real quick. We're gonna hit it and quit it. We're gonna hit a few. Damn, come on now. Genesis chapter 3. And it's like I don't have my face shown, but I wanted the screen to be big as possible and for you to get the full detail. Genesis 3, let's start at the top. Now the serpent, right? We know this was an actual man. We go into this word serpent. It means damn, I don't want to get it, but this just means the root word of the serpent is one who practiced divination. All right, and then when you go into it says not a serpent or a witch or the witch, which when you go into KKK like the Ku Klux Klan, when you go into the highest rank of the KKK society, they call themselves the Grand Wizard, showing you that they are who they were in the past life. They are that Grand Wizard, meaning they are that ultimate witch. They are the greatest witch, the Grand Wizard. So now the serpent was more subtle. You go into this word subtle, it means crafty. Okay, so he was more crafty than any beast of the field, meaning any nation on the earth, any beast of the field. He was the craftiest, which YAHAWAH had made. And he said unto the woman, yeah, have Yahweh said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden? Yeah, and the woman said unto the serpent. So they're talking right here. They're speaking. Because Esau is also a Hebrew, right? He's just not a Hebrew Israelite. Israelite comes from Israel, which Israel is really not a real word. It's Yashar'Allah, right? Some people say Yashar'Al, but it's Yashar'Allah, which comes from Yaquab. Okay, some people say Yaquab, but it's Yaquab, which got changed to Yashar'Allah. Yah means he, Shar means prince, Allah means power. He is the prince of the power. With YAHWASHI. So Esau don't come from Yashar'Allah or Israel, because you see he's Jacob's brother. You see? Okay, but that's another lesson. It says, and the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, showing you that they were communicating. What language? Hebrew. Jump down real quick. Let's jump down to 8. And they heard the voice of YAHWAH walking in the garden. All right, was the voice of the Most High literally walking in the garden, man? No. All right. This is YAHWASHI and the prophets, man. Okay, in that time, walking in the garden in the cool of the day, or the angels, okay. Or I should say the messengers, because angel just means messengers, walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of YAHWASHI amongst the trees of the garden, right? The trees meaning the other nations. So when YAHWASHI and the angels were calling out to Adam and his wife, they hid themselves amongst the people. Okay? They hid themselves amongst the people. And YAHWAH called unto Adam. See, he called unto Adam, right, in the Hebrew tongue, and said unto him, where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice. You see, in the garden. So remember, the Garden of Eden, like I said, is in the east, in Jerusalem, right, around Palestine, in that area. So he was walking on the land amongst the other people. He said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself, meaning he was in sin. Okay, he was exposed. He knew what evil was. Okay? So, now understanding that, everybody's name up until Noah were all Hebrew names. You see? And you can really kill the argument on that alone when you go to Genesis 5. Every name, let's just get the last couple verses, because you can read this whole thing on your own. Genesis 5, because everybody's name are Hebrews, Hebrew names. Let's start with Methuselah. Hebrews 5 and 21. Yeah, let's start at 21. And Enoch lived 65 years and begot Methuselah. Now these are the last forefathers and foremothers before the flood. Okay, and Enoch walked with Yahweh after he begot Methuselah. So I can bear with me. Like it. Genesis 5:22 got a little parched. And Enoch walked with Yahweh after he begot Methuselah 300 years and begot sons and daughters. Genesis 5:23. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And Enoch walked with Yahweh and was not, for Yahweh took him. Right, he was translated. And Methuselah lived in 108 and 7 years and begot Lamech. Right? 26. And Methuselah lived after he begot Lamech 782 years and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Methuselah were 969 years and he died. Imagine living that long. You know, we're going to live forever, man. That's going to be crazy. Imagine being 1,000 years old and you still look like you 15 or 20. Man. And still feel like you 20. Right now, I'm 28 and I feel like I'm goddamn 45. From all the back pains and lack of sleep and all the things that things that come with that, man. Ailments, right? I believe I said that right. Verse 28. And Lamech lived 182 years and begot a son. All right. 29. And he called his name Noah. You see? Saying, this same shall comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands because of the ground which YAHAWAH had cursed. You see, so all the way up to Noah, okay, and everybody that was mentioned in that short little passage, all had Hebrew names. Okay? All had Hebrew names. Including, matter of fact, let's finish out the chapter. And Lamech lived after he begot Noah 595 years and begot sons and daughters. All the days of Lamech were 777 years and he died. And Noah was 500 years old and Noah begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Okay? Okay, so these three sons came out of Noah. Okay? Now, what you're going to find, all right, which still all going into the Hebrew because Ham is not how you say it. It's in the Hebrew, it's Ham, right? Which where you get a later version of it, where they call it today, Kemet or Ham or Kemet, which means black or the land of or dark or the land of the black or whatever. All right. Now, so like I said, all the language, everybody's names was Hebrew up until the flood. Now, what happened was you had the language be preserved through who? Eber. Okay, which is Ibar. When you go to let's stay in Genesis real quick. Go to Genesis 10. Genesis 10. Go to the point 21. Unto Shem, also the father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japheth, the elder, even to him were children born, the children of Shem, Elam and Shur, and Arphaxad, Lud and Aram, and the children of Aram, Uz and Hul, and Gathar, and Mash, and Arphaxad. Arphaxad begot Shelah, right? Right. And Shelah begot Eber, or Ibar, okay? You see? So this was the way YAHWASHI will preserve the language through Shelah having a son name and naming him Eber or Ibar, which Eber, like I said, is Ibar, which is Hebrew. When you hear Abariyat, as you're saying, the Hebrew language, okay? Hebrew or Hebrew language. So Ibar or Abariyat, right? When you go into that word, we're not gonna get it. You get on your own for the sake of time, because we already 34 minutes in. But and that was Satan. Let me go ahead and exit that out. But yeah, it's Ibar. When you go into it in your research, Ibar just means to pass through. Okay, Hebrew. We are Hebrew Israelites, and we pass through realms. Okay, we pass through different captivities. We pass through the Red Sea. We pass, you know, we pass through the fire. Meshach, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. We passed through the fire. Right now, we're passing through the fire. You know, whatever. We always have to pass through. Okay. It also means beyond. Okay, or far beyond. Okay, or I like to use beyond. Okay, which also means to pass through. Okay, because we go beyond the limits. We pass through whatever uh, situation that we face. That's our nature. That's what Ibar means. Okay? And then what did the Lord do in the next chapter? He confounded the languages in Genesis 11, and the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. Okay? So, right, we all spoke Hebrew, man. And it came to pass, which is actually where you get the word babal from, confusion. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, "Go and let us make brick." And you can read the story. And they, tried to build the tower, and things of such unto the Father, and tried to be as the Most High, like as Nimrod tried to, which is Esau's mindset today. Esau's not Nimrod, but Esau just took all the ancient gods and he meshed it into one big ball, and he's trying to master the pros out of those nations serving those different gods, and he tried to take away the cons and keep the pros. It's like it. Let's let's go to 6. And YAHAWASHI, behold, the people said, behold, the people is one, and they all have one language, and this they began to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go, 2, let us go down there and confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. Right? This is twofold. All right, this is another lesson for another day. But, on a surface level, the Most High YAHAWASHI, he did confound all the languages, which is why you have many forms, because all languages stem from the Hebrew tongue. Okay, you have, matter of fact, let me show you this. Real quick. Because all languages stem from the Hebrew tongue in one shape or form, one way, shape, or form. All right. Let me show you this real quick. You see? That's nothing but the evolution of the alphabet. Okay? Which all languages stem from. And I've brought this out many a times, going into the Hebrew language and different things. But when you go into the studies, go into how Chinese letters look, go into how Arabic letters look, go into any language in the world and look at the structure of the letters. Okay, they all stem from the Hebrew tongue. Even numbers, because in Hebrew tongue, you it's different from the English tongue. Okay, letters make up numbers in the Hebrew tongue. In the English, numbers are separate from letters. You see, so these things, you have to know, and it's important to know, because why? It's our language and our heritage. All right. So yeah. So that matter of fact, let's go back here, and we got one more, and I want to show, and then we're gonna close out. So the Most High confounded the speech. Now you have many forms of the Hebrew tongue. Okay, that's it. Just wanted to make sure it was still good. So you have many forms of the Hebrew tongue, and from there, where was I about to go? Oh, matter of fact, to prove to you that the language is still here, the Hebrew tongue, we can close out with that. That the same language, that's in the heavens. Why would the Most High get rid of the language that's in the heavens, man? That's stupid, man. For Jake to think that. The language of the heavens, the Father gave to Adam. Okay, not only just Adam, the whole entire world to a period of time. Okay, and YAHAWASHI, another way he showed his power was preserving the language all the way up until the time of destruction, showing you that It doesn't matter what you do, what you take out, what you add. YAHWASHI YAHWASHI, what's made of, and the scriptures say, what is of YAHWASHI YAHWASHI, you cannot throw it on. So he preserved what he wanted to preserve up until whenever said measure and it has to play out. Even our language. Prove that. Let's go to Acts to prove that the language is still here. Acts 22. Going back to Acts 22. Well, we was in Acts 26, but going to Acts 22. Let's start at the top. Men, brethren, and fathers, hear ye my defense, which I make now unto you. And when they heard that he spake in the Hebrew tongue, this is Paul, to them they kept the more silence and said, I am verily a man which am a Jew, showing you that he's what? He said, are they Hebrews? So am I. I am from Bunyamin, right? Which is Benjamin. Paul was from Benjamin, the tribe of Benjamin. He said, I'm verily a man which am a Jew, right? He's from the southern kingdom. Born, I brought this out in his first and second journey. He was born in Tarsus, a city in a city in Cilicia, yet brought up in this city at the feet of Gamaliel, and taught according to the perfect manner of the law of the fathers, and was zealous toward YAHWASHI YAHWASHI, as ye all are this day. You see? So, going back up to 2, and when they heard that he spake in the Hebrew tongue to them. So, right, Paul was still speaking in the Hebrew tongue thousands of years later. And not only that, we too will be speaking the Hebrew tongue that YAHWASHI YAHWASHI gave to Adam, because the language is still preserved. It's still here, which is why we are able to call on the names of the Lord, YAHWASHI YAHWASHI. John 17:6. He has manifested his name unto the men which he have given YAHWASHI. In order to know the name, we have to know the language in its proper vibration. We might not know all of it. We might not be fluent as we want to be, but we know enough to receive salvation. And what is that? His names. To close out, let's go to Isaiah 19 and 18. And in that day, what day? The time we're living in, shall 5 cities in the land of Egypt speak the language of Canaan. The language of Canaan is the Hebrew tongue. Some call it the Phoenician language, right? And swear to Yahweh Tazabawah, which means Yahweh of armies, which Lord of hosts means Yahweh of armies. Yahweh Tazabawah, one shall be called the city of destruction. So the language of Canaan, we speak that language today. Okay, showing you that this language that we speak today comes from the ancient world, which the ancient world is stemmed from what? The heavens. YAHWASHI said in the prayer in Matthew 6, he said, on earth as it is in heaven. Okay? The council and the priesthood that's in the heavens, what we had on earth was a representation of what the heavenly priesthood is supposed to be. But we defiled it on earth, which is why YAHWASHI became our mediator, so that we can be perfect, so that we can keep it right when we were born into the kingdom and given those new bodies. With that, I pray that this was edifying to the elect lambs and sheep of YAHWASHI YAHWASHI. Strong shalom again to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Strong shalom to the hopeful elect scattered across the earth, in the four corners of the earth, showing due diligence, making that call election sure. Call, HALALYAM, AHBANAWA, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, HAMASHIAC, WAMALAK YAHWASHI, BAHASHAM, HAQADASH, LAIWALAMYAM. I said all praises to our Father, Yahawah, in the name of his only begotten Son, YAHWASHI, who the world only calls Jesus Christ. I said Messiah and King, YAHWASHI, in the name of the Holy Spirit, forever, LAIWALAMYAM, which is forever, or I will forever. Brother Kadash, Shalom.